My humble respect to Guru Mahan, Guru Piran Sankaran, Guru Piran Neo, fellow Jnanis. Today I'm going to continue with the discussions on science of meditation, part 8. And the last few classes, I spoke about how one can, one needs to prepare for meditation. And the preparation is to really understand the state of the mind and how one can generate peace and tranquility and quietude to help you with these meditational practices. So a few things that we need to do, and part of it is we covered how to slowly, prevent the qualities that make the mind shrunken, what we call the asuric qualities, the 18 qualities that make our mind shrunken, our intelligence blunted, and our senses gross. So, and when we evacuate our mind from all this, asuric qualities, slowly, the mind, nurtures the divine qualities. And when we acquire the divine qualities of the mind expands, become inspired, intelligence becomes sharper, and our senses become more and more refined. And slowly, things become more clearer. We acquire that wisdom knowledge, the knowledge of the universe, God, and self, the creator and the self. This is what we call jnana yoga, and ultimately it leads us to that I God state that Mahan spoke about, the Purushottama yoga, the oneness, the state of oneness. So I spoke about the last time, out of the 18, I spoke about 12 of it, 12 of the divine qualities that we should observe, become aware, and nurture, reinforce, and strengthen within our mind. So I spoke about, how one cultivates this 12 different, values in our mind. The next one I want to speak about is this notion of slander. Sometimes as human beings, the mind tend to be, very critical, right? We criticize people. We, sometimes make false statements, to a person's reputation. We cut people down with our words, Swamiji always says that, don't hurt anyone, other people's, feelings, reputations, with harsh words. Your mind should have no place for harsh words, and here again, he says that always be gentle, kind with your words, harshness of the words will linger in our mind, it'll reverberate in our mind, and it will prevent us from attaining, uh, a peaceful mind. A peaceful mind is prerequisite for a good meditational practice. So always, be very careful with our words. Don't put people down. Don't say they are this and that, that really, demeans them. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say it. Be quiet, right? So never, ever, you can be constructive with your comments. You can be developmental with your comments, but never say somebody's, very harsh words to them. Harshness of words reflect the harshness of the human mind. Grossness of the words is reflecting the grossness of one's mind. So when we learn to practice this, this notion of ahimsa, non-injuriousness, we spoke about it, that is part and parcel of that ability to not be critical. Yes, you can give constructive feedback. I always start whenever I'm in a forum or whenever I'm with students, I always start with the positive comments. Even though they may be out of track or may not have followed the instructions, you give them, okay, this is good that you've done. Here is a different way of looking at things, right? So When we do that, our mind becomes more and more refined. So the words that we say to our loved ones, the words that we use to our friends, family members, colleagues in the office, students, our children, all these are so important. And of course, even, strangers, whenever we pass, smile, say good morning, or good evening, it's okay. It doesn't cost you anything, right? So this is so important, whenever I don't know anything, don't know persons, in the place I walk, or I always say good day, sir, or good day, ma'am, and it cheers them up, you see. So, and that's what we always have to be very gentle with our words. So this is one of the qualities of this divine mindset. The next one is actually absence of greed. This is something nature has built in us to be looking after ourselves and be self-centered, right? But you see that sometimes it just cripples people. They compete so much, there's gluttony, and there's this hoarding, you know. So here, everything that is material, people crave so much, Swamiji says, drop that possessiveness and the cravings to amass material wealth, and all the accolades. People want fame, power, material wealth. He says, yes, you need resources to look after yourself and the needs of your family. You don't need to be opulent, right? So here he says that get rid of the possessiveness and cravings to want more and more material wealth. That should be channeled towards spiritual wealth. And you'll see that when you acquire the spiritual wealth, you acquire all the other wealth. So he says that the material wealth too will dissipate, as the body age, and over time it dissipates. Things that you could eat before, as you age, you will not be able to eat. Things that you can do before, over time, you will not be able to do. Things that you have experienced over time, you will not be able to experience. So we have to gracefully age, live to outlive everything. So teach the mind to tighten its grip on the true reality, that which is not changing. Whenever you have all people praising you, that will also pass. Also, when people are highly critical, you see, that will also pass. That there is something in me that is not touched by this, right? So here again, teach the mind about the true reality, that spiritual capital nature has blessed all of us, which is transcendental to time, space, disease, death. So allocate time for slowly living to outlive our material desires and gravitating towards our spiritual growth. So this is something that, one needs to always keep in context, right? I'm not saying that you don't need material resources. As long as you have a body, you need material resources. You need food, shelter, clothing, travel, all that needs resources, but being crazy over it will blind you. So again, that greed, one needs to manage it, so that, you have the resources to do well, have a comfortable life, be able to acquire the spiritual capital. So this is a very important quality of a person who is pursuing this journey. Related to that is gentleness, always with our thoughts, words, and actions to everyone, even to those who actually give us a very difficult time, and to all sentient beings, be as best as you can, and to Mother Nature. So always be nature-centric. I mean, today I had a chance to speak about planetary health, some of the work that we're doing. It's very, very exciting, you see. So take the course of the people who are vulnerable, unable to do it, and nature that has blessed us with so much goodness. So the gentleness, the kindness, the gracefulness is hallmark of a mind that is on the path to enlightenment. The next one is modesty, a sense of humility, right? Not boastful, a sense of humility. You know, it is not about, it is humility is about knowing your value, but you're not better than everyone else. You have a particular value that nature's blessed you with, right? So are others being blessed in different ways, right? So we have to learn to respect ourselves, to respect other people. So this is a sense of humility, the quality of not being too proud or too confident about oneself and our abilities. We all are given, there are things that I may be able to do really well, but there are things that I'm not so great. So I have to be open to learning from others or helping others guiding me. So that sense of modesty to say, some things I don't know. It's okay, but I'll put in the effort to know. So this is really important, that sense of humility. And, that's why you see in Swamiji's teachings, he always says, in Iriya Malargle, my flowers of my heart. He says he's learned a lot from his own disciples and other people, in the process of this journey. So that modesty is so important in everything that we do. The next quality is actually steadfast and absence of restlessness. This is really important. Sometimes we do things to make ourselves restless, right? If we are restless, how can the mind be quiet or peaceful? We are always on the mobile phone, we are always on the internet, we always want to go shopping, we always are interacting with this material world. We don't spend enough time for our dialogue with divinity within ourselves. Yes, I have colleagues that say, no, I'm working, I'm so busy to do this, busy that, busy this, traffic jam la, all those things. As long as we have an excuse, nature will excuse us from this knowledge, right? Even how hard you try, even the most challenging moments of your life, the most busiest moments of your life, you put aside, okay, I am going to listen to the satsang, I'm going to go for the classes, I'm going to sit down and meditate, I'm going to do research on spirituality, and myself. You see that, time slows down for you. Anyone who don't have, say they don't have time for this, time will race like crazy, right? Anyone who say, look, I'm going to allocate time for my meditation, attending satsangs, listening, reading, introspecting, contemplating, and doing deep meditation, you see that time actually slows down. So again, this is something that one, need to be steadfast in that pursuit, right? No traffic jam or no things will, stop you from achieving that outcome. So this unwavering commitment to improve the quality of our mind, you know, we are the only one that is responsible for nurturing our own happiness and sublimity. Nobody else, right? Nobody else. No guru can make it happen for you. The guru can only give you instructions, teaching, and training. Ultimately, you have to do it yourself. Same like, going for an examination. The teacher will teach you, you can go for tuition, you can do all those exercises. The end of the day, you have to write that examination. So here you have to be steadfast. You have to anchor yourselves on, yes, the divinity's presence is in me. I'm going to anchor it, allocating time for yourself for the introspection, contemplation, reflection. This is the dialogue with the divinity every day you should be having, eventually half an hour a day, and slowly, slowly it expands every moment you're plugged into the system, right? So you see that when our mind is turbulent, find out why is my mind turbulent. Don't let it be there, right? And then seek the treatment, seek the recourse to address those, turbulence. You try your best. Most of us are knowledgeable, so we know this is affecting us. Could it be health? Could it be relationship? Could it be finance? Could be many, many, a multitude, or maybe a combination of all this. Just sit down quietly, write it down. Okay, prioritize, and slowly, slowly you unpack that complexity, and you see that sometimes when you do 20% of the things that you need to do, 80% of your problems disappear. So we see that steadfast, that the grit attitude, the grit mindset, right? And continuously wanting to improve, you will never be restless. You'll always be productive, right? So you see that restlessness is a nice saying, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So when you don't have anything to do, you start imagining things. And this is where it gets you into trouble. So find out and seek the treatment. If you can't find the treatment on your own, then find somebody who's experienced, a guru or a teacher or someone that say, okay, can you help me how to navigate this through? And they will give you that inspiration to help you. So that steadfast, and the absence of restlessness is also a very important quality of the mind that helps us to learn to meditate more effectively. The last one I want to cover is actually strength, building strength of the mind, building resilience, building adaptability and agility of the mind, right? So what the one needs to do is, how do I be resilient? What are the knowledge that I need to acquire and the trainings and the internships that I need to acquire to build a resilient mind? So no matter what happens, my mind is still intact. The mind is so strong, it's like a rubber ball you throw on the wall, it dents for a while, and then it goes back to its original state and bounce back. So what would make the mind resilient? What would make the mind adaptable to all the circumstances, like the universal adapter? And that agility of the mind, flexibility to look at situations and circumstances to be able to adapt, right? So that building that strength, being observant, hey, I got angry here. How do I, address that? Or here, I was a little bit sad. Find out why you're sad. And you see, when you go deeper, actually, it doesn't mean anything. So here, what you need to do is that there are times that you have to be a sprinter. It's like, as all, Olympics just finished, right? So I want to use that analogy. There are times that our mind must be like a sprinter, because that's the race it's called upon now. So you really need to tone your muscles, your aerodynamics, and, take that 100 meters race. So there are times in life that we have to be like the sprinter, right? There are times that we have to run the middle race. This is your 400 and 800, race, right? By the time if you have run 400 meters, after 200 meters, you'll be running very well. And then after 200 meters, your body starts tiring out. The same thing with 800 meters. So there are things that we have to do. We will not see the results immediately. It'll take about medium term level to get it. So even in meditation, there are times that some people get it. Sometimes people take some time, right? But there are times that we have to be like the marathon runner. What does the marathon runner do? He's got so much energy stored in himself. He's mentally fit, and he has an aerodynamic body. They're not obese. Normally, marathon runners are very lean. So if the mind is wanting to navigate this, a marathon runner, the mind needs to be adaptable, agile, really sharp. So if you see the marathon runners, there's a pace that they take. They don't run fast very quickly. There's a pace. Then the pace starts building up until they complete the race. In that same way, there are moments that we sprint. There are moments where we have middle level kind of trajectory. And there are times that we have to be patient, perseverance, persistence. This is for the long haul. And eventually your body gets into a steady state that sometimes your mind is no more controlling your leg. You're just running in an automated way. So we see this, there are times we have to be, our mind must be like the sprinter, times mid-level races, there are times that we play the marathon race, right? So for this, we need to be, productive to see what works for us. We have to be persevering, intensively with lots of persistence. Okay. And you see that this one, the short race gives you speed, and to some extent, you need to speed particularly, which is very important in life. Sometimes we have to be very speedy in making decisions. There are times that it calls our mind to play that mid-level, 200, 400, 800 meters. Again, there's a dynamics there. And there are times that we should be running the marathon race, very long race. We need strategy, we need energy, we need power, we need focus. So you see that all these, in the form of the runners, we have to imbibe, right? And when we imbibe, we become very successful, in deepening our meditation. So we see that the marathon runner has patience, perseverance, persistence to last that duration, right? Not abuse your body, not abuse other people, not abuse yourself, always in the state of spiritual enlightenment and inspiration, right? You build that strong mental and intellectual robustness, the agility, and the ability to innovate. So we see that, these 13 qualities to 18 qualities are what I call divine qualities that help make our mind, calm and cool in the most difficult circumstances. It helps us build speed. It helps us to have that endurance like the marathon runner, and the spiritual knowledge. Not just your own religious knowledge, maybe you can start there, but going deep down to the spiritual knowledge, and wherever people are giving talks, try to attend. So this building that strong mental stamina can only happen if we build a spiritual capital. When we build that spiritual capital, our mental capital goes up, our intellectual capital goes up. So when we do this regularly, be conscious of this 18 divine qualities. Ask the question, am I practicing this? Or am I practicing the demonic qualities? Is that why I'm not getting it? How do I slowly get rid of it? So again, we see that, I want you to think about the science of meditation in a more comprehensive way. Just go and sitting down quietly and try to get the unarvu will be futile in achieving your objective. You have to really understand what is happening within your mind, what is happening in the external universe, and the third one is your relationship with that universe. This is very important. How you craft it depends on you. The guru can only tell you this is what worked for the guru. If you think it may help you, here it is. Right? So with that, we see that when we practice this, slowly, maybe you may not get it now, but slowly you see that there's a change happens, a sense of calm, serenity, productivity, a whole host of things that starts taking place in your life. And you're not, that doesn't mean that you will not go through challenges. Yes, you still go through challenges, but you have the mental capacity to withstand those challenges and become enlightened by those challenges. So this is what I wanted to cover today, I completed the 18 divine qualities that all of us should be aware of. All of us should endeavor to put it to practice. All of us should use this practice to create better return on values for us, the 10 capitals, which is, economic value, societal value, our role in society, environment, and also empowering what I call stewardship and empowerment of yourself and the people. You're no more a chief executive officer, you are a chief enlightenment officer. And the first student you have is yourself. And when that student becomes really good, that student becomes a helpful aid to help illumine other people. And you discover the guru in yourself. So this is what I want to cover today on how to prepare the mind. It requires a completely different lifestyle that we have been used to. It may take some time, it may be difficult. Like anything you begin, you may not get the outcome now, but it's a long-term journey, right? So don't rush and give up. You have to continue to relentlessly do the things to be connected. Sandosham.